Hello, I'm Ghazala from Unapologetically Desi, and today again we are recording this during the daytime. It's raining outside, and it's a little dark outside.
Hi, I'm Mala, also from Unapologetically Desi. I know it's a little coolish outside, but we're going to have a very warm conversation here.
Hi
Yes.
everyone, I'm Aisha with Unapologetically Desi. We are no experts, but we gather here to have conversations amongst ourselves to figure out who we are, what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are. And I welcome all of you to join us in these conversations and ponder on what the stories are playing in the theater of your mind. Welcome.
Okay, so as Aisha already introduced this was our last topic. What's playing in the theater of your mind? That is what we talked about last time. And our goal is our bigger goal is to move the conversations we are having is to move from the scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And for that, we thought this will be easy. We'll talk about it quickly, move, figure out how to expand a container. And it's not happening. The more we talk about it, the more we realize how much of a journey that this needs to be on self-reflection, on reflecting on the barriers we have or have created for ourselves, the bridges that we need to build to cross over. And as part of these bridges, these conversations are taking place. So in the last episode, we talked about what's playing in the theater of our mind. So let's do this actually. All right. Who's
Okay,
going to
all right.
start?
Mala.
Okay.
Let's put Mala on the spot.
All
Mala.
right,
All
let's
right.
put me on the spot. Hey, I'm
So
not
think
an
about it.
expert.
So we're not we are saying what's actually playing in your mind, and right now when you're talking then something different happens, right? Because
Right.
you're on the spot, right?
Right.
So if you think about, and if I pose this question to you, Mala, so what's playing in the theater of your mind? How would you answer it?
Like I said, or like you said, there are multiple theaters right now producing in my mind with movies going on.
Mm.
One of them is I'm thinking about this podcast, and I'm playing the podcast is going so well, and we are doing so well.
That will manifest.
We
That's being
will manifest
manifested.
that. But the story that normally happens when I'm sitting and thinking about something, which is recurrent theme, I think, in my stories, is the expectations that I put on myself and on my immediate family members.
Mm.
That I should have done this, or I should have said this, or my son, daughter, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, husband, immediate mom, dad should have done this, or should have said this.
Mm.
And I think after our conversations the last time, of which the podcast I wasn't a part of, but we had talked about it as to what Aisha was talking about. Whose voice is this? That's what I've been wondering now. Whose voice is this that I'm carrying inside of me?
So Mala, the question would be a because what you're saying, right? That what are my expectations of myself,
Right.
right? Then the question is that something that stresses you or is that excites you? Because expectations could be like in some way positive or some way negative, or it could be a combination, right? Nothing is black and white, right? That we live in gray worlds, right? In many ways. So if you feel okay, this is like it's stressing me, right? This
Right.
needs to be addressed, or is this, then the question becomes, can we create this new story now? Can it, what why cannot we replace it with something that is more, how will you replace it? That would be a question.
That's a question, right? How are we going to replace the story, which is I asked that myself, how am I going to replace it between what I want to be and what I realize I am at the present moment. How do you bridge that gap? It's a bridge.
And what you want to be, is that your want to be, or is it other people's want that they wanted you to be?
Question? No, I think this, in my particular case, this is what I want to be. When we started talking about the abundance, the container, I think that was the impetus for me to say, okay, this is what I'm seeking now in life, is to have this container which is vast and which has boundaries, but within the boundaries, there are no boundaries. If you can understand that it is my boundaries, my self limitations, which can I move those? And those are then the questions which start coming up when I realize what stories are playing in my head.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about self-reflection,
It
right?
is. I think a
You know.
large part of it is self-reflection. And also being very truthful with ourselves, maybe.
I think
Yes.
that's very important.
Mm.
The being honest with yourself
Yeah.
is the most important thing, because sometimes we are also lying to ourselves, right?
Oh, yes.
Um, so I think that's a very important, that you have to be your own best friend.
Yes.
Right.
And when you lie to yourself, or when you kind of overwrite some of the true truth, right? I think that's when you're not your authentic self. B, then you know some subconscious level, right? That this is happening, right? It's maybe not the conscious level, but and then that's where you are uncomfortable and you're not unhappy and you are like you're not aligned, right,
Right.
to your best person, right, to yourself, because you are not even accepting, you're not even acknowledging some of yourself.
It is hard to sometimes acknowledge the truth, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So, right. And sometimes the truth is so buried within your stories that you
Mm.
don't realize what your truth is also,
Yes.
right? It's
Yeah.
everybody's, it's hearsay, like,
Mm-hmm.
like somebody said something and somebody said something else, and then you start believing that, and then somebody else comes along and says something else, and it's all muddled up in your mind, and you really don't know what the real truth is also. So it's taking
Okay,
off
so
the
Aisha, we have
layers.
to ask you this question now, right?
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
ask you that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
so
go
the
ahead.
question is,
Go
what's
ahead,
the question?
Kabala. Ask the same question to.
What's playing in the
Hmm.
theater of your mind?
Okay, so there, if you ask me today that question, there are multiple stories happening simultaneously in the theater of my mind. Like Mala said, one is this podcast. It's like I'm imagining this is really doing very well for us. The other constant story that's happening is, and I've told you, both of you ladies, that I want to write a book and I have my title ready. And that book is doing really well. I've written it, I've published it. And so that story is happening constantly in my mind. Like I can actually imagine it, right? But also from my past experiences and the life I've lived in the past, it has impacted me a lot, right? And so there are a lot of fears that keep emerging up. Like, and I think I had mentioned it before and I suppressed them. And then they appear again, and they are the worries, right? And I want to overcome them because I know that was the past, but I don't know, to be honest, to how to. I thought I had forgotten my past and moved forward. And on a daily level, on a daily basis, my mind is not consumed with my past at all. But maybe at a subconscious level, there are fears that have been ingrained in myself, in my soul, and they surface, and these are worries for myself and for my children. I had a very unhealthy relationship, and I feel, what if my girls are in unhealthy relationships, and how can I stop it if I need to?
That's
or
fear, right?
so that fear is there, or like if they are or if they will be, then they will suffer the same suffering that I had suffered, and the damage it did to me. And that fear, like sometimes it doesn't consume you, but it arises, and then I have to correct myself that that was my journey
Right.
and their journeys are separate, so I should not carry that fear with me. But it's really hard
It's
not to.
So I think we haven't really talked about intergenerational trauma, right? And I mean, we just kind of maybe mentioned it in the first episode that we had done. Somehow it just came about, and those are the fears that we not only. I mean, if there's research, I don't know how good or bad that is, but there is intergenerational trauma, and because we fear for because of our fears are passed on to our family members and to our siblings and also to our children, right? Our own fears, right?
Right.
And that is what you're saying, is that your worry is also that you might pass on that fear. You fear
Yes.
for them, right?
Right. Right.
So the question becomes, is there, so we really going back to, is there a way for a new story in your do you in your brain, right? That it's
Yes.
coming down
Yes.
to that, right?
Yes.
But and that's about expansion, right? Also, that why do we why is that upper limit of why is that fear even there, right? And how do we overcome that fear? Is the overcoming of the fear, it doesn't even happen automatically. It's a part of the healing process.
Right. I
true.
think because that's the known that you know, whether it's good or bad, of your past is the known that you know, and that's how you know how to exist, right? That's
Yes.
your exist, right? That's how you know to exist. So my known was the fear of my existence, right? For decades it was that fear. So from me to shift from that to an happy, content, and that's what I want for myself, and that's what I want for my girls. But that transition is hard. And even though I understand the concept, right, that I have to shift the narrative, shift the story in my mind, and not necessarily what happened to me will happen to them or anybody else, right? And it's my story and the stories that I've seen around me. Why am I imposing them forward? That realization is there, that the shift has to come in my mind, that story has to change. But by default, I go back,
You go
and
back.
then I
Yeah.
need, by default, right? It's not a
It's not a
conscious,
constant.
it's
The
not
default.
happening right now. My life is very good. I'm very content. I'm very happy. Everything is going well. My girls are doing very well. They're working,
So
they're healthy. But by default, I fall back. And
Right.
then I have to correct myself consciously. Stop.
Yeah.
Like I have to tell myself, stop.
Right.
So
Yeah.
actually, we are talking about how do you move from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset. This is exactly what we are talking about. This is the scarcity mindset, right? That
Yeah.
you have that fear, you have that upper limit that is isse better nahi ho sakta. Yeah,
Right.
this is how life will become because it became for me. So hence
Right.
it will become for my loved ones also. So I fear, and I don't want that to happen.
So my thought on this is like for myself, and this is just basically for myself. And I think I've talked to you not on the podcast, but we talk a lot. So we've talked about it, that I feel that if I heal myself and if I raise my vibrations, right? So instead of forwarding my fears and passing them on, I will forward on my positiveness and my happiness and my strength, not at a verbal level, and by words also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but also at a very higher level of a vibrational frequency level. If the shift comes within me, then the shift will come around me also. If that's making sense.
Yeah. So then the fact, again, like Mala said, it's like the healing part has to come in,
So the
right?
healing has to come here.
For you. Yeah.
For me personally, I'm just talking very,
We're
very
all talking
personal.
about, yeah,
Yeah.
personal.
So the healing has to come within myself. So just the realization that I need healing. Maybe I need to go to therapy, and we've talked about it.
Mhm.
And yes, I do need to go to therapy, right? I need to open those
You have
wounds.
avoided it for many years, Aishu.
Like all my life, I've avoided it because
Yeah.
I feel that if I open my wounds, how much pain will that bring me?
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
the avoidance, but the awareness is there, but the avoidance is there too, right?
No,
Right.
it's the
So
fear again, right? It's the
it's the
same
fear.
fear
Fear of
in some
same,
different. It's
same.
coming back in some different forms, but it's the fear.
Right,
Right.
right. So,
Yeah.
but I am ready to change the story of my life and make a new
Yay!
narrative. Yay!
Yay!
But
एक नई कहानी की जगह है.
बिल्कुल है.
should we
All
pose the
right.
same question to Ghazala now? Aisha,
Yes.
sister.
Yes.
Yes.
Baji, what
Oh,
is the what? What
okay.
is the
So
story?
I obviously once we started talking about it, we started posing to ourselves in our mind, and I'm like, I have, what plays in my mind a lot of time is like I'm a planner, like in many ways, I plan things. I need things in once I have an idea or anybody gives me a problem, I need to solve it. I'm a solver of problems, planner, right? And
Mhm.
because of the my own life, I'm the eldest in our family, right? Um, I've always been given either problems to solve or I take it on my own. Like, oh, you have a problem, give it to me. I will solve it, right? Like, even if you don't want to give it to me, I'll take it from you, right? So that's my attitude with my family, and that became like a thing for me. So I kind of always, I'm like, why now that I'm thinking about it, is that something that I do? I'm good at it. I'm good at problem solving. I'm a really good planner, right? Of problems or issues or something. Like I do it with clarity of mind. And I'm like, okay, so because we're talking about, and because of that, I've achieved a lot. This has been my forte for my work, for my personal life, for my family things. It's not been negative. It's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing, right? But
Mhm.
then I'm like, how can I make this take it to the next level? Now I'm thinking how do I expand my container to receive more. And I'm like, what can I be doing now? And I'm like, I am doing it in some way. I'm doing this podcast, right?
Mhm.
And maybe that is my way of expanding my container. Of we are discussing these things of our own, and people must be listening, and hopefully they will think more and plan more and problem solve their own issues, whatever they might be, right? They don't have to come to me personally, but they please don't come to me personally. But
She's right to Ghazala.
I don't. So I'm like,
पता चला millions of emails आ रही है आप हमारी
yeah,
problems.
like you need to solve our problem. No, no. So so how can I use my ability and expand it to the next expansion of myself?
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel that abundance that comes to me is because I do want to give this abundance to other people. So now my thing is, can I expand my container? That is my question to myself.
So is that the new storyline in your theater of your mind?
So in the theater of my mind, I'm saying, yes, I have this ability. I acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm full of gratitude for this ability that I have. I respect it. It's not something I made it myself, right? It was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I use it to better
Serve,
better serve,
maybe.
like is there a way, a path for utilizing it to a better, in a better place, in a better way, rather.
Right, right. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a very
So
thoughtful response, right? That we all need to think about. Like your story, Aisha, it's based, even though it's based in reality,
Mm-hmm.
it is real for you to worry about that, what you fear. But how do you expand it, right? How do you
That's a
expand it without acknowledging that story, but your response to, let's say, the worry part of it, the fear part of it, maybe that needs to be what we should be looking at,
the
right?
how
and,
to shift,
How to
how
shift,
to
sorry.
shift, how to shift your thought process, right?
right?
To a more positive
To
process.
like for me, I always think in terms of maybe gratitude and maybe looking at life as a blessing will be better way to look at my story rather than looking at it, oh, did I fulfill my potential, or did my kids fulfill their potential, or whatever expectations there might be
No,
there.
also my fears are coming from my past experiences, right? And I'm projecting it in my future,
Yeah.
right? Nobody knows what the future is.
Mm-hmm.
Past is the past. I cannot change it.
No.
So I feel that the constant living in the now, in the current, is where the shift can come. I can't predict the future, so why worry about the future? Yes, there's some planning that needs to be done,
Mm-hmm.
but constantly the worry part of it is not going to help me. So I think living in the now is where you can make the shift happen. Like, and if a thought comes by, then you say, this thought is not serving me. Can I shift that thought? And then question to ask yourself is, am I the victim or the victor of my story?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If
Yeah.
I'm the editor, I'm the director, I'm the producer, and I'm the writer of the story, then can I not change the story to a new story? And then
So
again,
remember we talked about wabi sabi,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right? In our last episode, Mala, we talked about wabi sabi, and
Yeah.
it's a Japanese it's Japanese philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a part of that, and I know I wrote it last time also. It's like I have to read it because not much we know about it except the whole philosophy and the word kintsugi. It's kind of just resonated with us when we talked about it. And the Japanese concept that centers around accepting transience and imperfection, flawed beauty. It nurtures all that is authentic by acknowledging three simple realities. Nothing lasts, nothing is finished, nothing is perfect. And part of that is also kintsugi, right? And you remember what that was?
Yes, kintsugi is a Japanese art where they join broken pieces of pottery together with gold. And the purpose of doing it by gold is so that your flaws are visible. So we are all flawed in many ways, right? But if we take our weaknesses and put them together and they become our strengths, don't be ashamed of it. Um,
Yes.
show it with pride, carry it with pride, be proud of who you are. And that's where the courage comes in. You put all of yourself together, the good, the bad, and you make it something beautiful.
Yeah. And it's like a piece of pottery. Our lives are infused with fragility, setbacks, and unpredictability. Shows us that in time we can heal from our wounds, embrace our imperfections, and become stronger.
Mhm.
Right? That's part of the Kintsugi concept, right?
Okay.
So as we move forward, Mala, what should we be doing?
So I think just kind of remind ourselves that there are going to be challenges in life, right? We all face
Right.
this, and
Mhm.
there is always a path forward, right? Whether it's Japanese philosophy, which is beautiful, I think. I love the concept of kintsugi that put all the parts together. Let it be imperfect. It doesn't need to be perfection.
Right.
And our path to healing and our path comes with, I think what we've talked about sounds like it's self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Path to healing starts with us and nobody else.
Right.
Our path to healing can be including self-care and experiencing that for ourselves. In self-care, I will include physical, mental, social, spiritual self-care, and maybe the intersection of the physical, the emotional, social, spiritual. It's too big for me personally to tackle, I think, so I'm going to leave it aside for a minute. But I think that is what maybe is a way to look forward, to move forward towards what we are calling healing, and to have a new story in the theater of our minds.
Yes. Mm.
So one of the things I will ask us all to think about is the impact of emotions on our physical being. Where do we store emotions in ourselves, and what is the impact physically we feel of that?
Hmm.
Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. Emotions are part of us, right? They happen
Right.
and they dissipate. But also emotions sometimes take hold. Grief, for example, takes hold of us, whether it is in part of our body. One of the very simple things that I can think in terms of is emotional connection in myself. I carry it in my shoulders. So
Okay.
winter time where I am emotionally upset that it is so cold outside, I will be
Yeah.
my shoulders up,
Yes.
right? I'm sitting like this. So it's always a reminder to myself, breathe, because otherwise the shoulders will start hurting.
Mm-hmm.
We also know people carry it in low back pain. A lot of people complain of low back pain or stomach or headaches. Stress headaches is a thing. Stress stomach
Right.
ache is a thing, in children especially. I don't know if you had your children, but one of my kids used to be, oh, my stomach is hurting. I can't go to school today because there was something
Right.
at school which was
Stress. Yeah.
stressing about. And now they look back at it and they think, oh, wow, mom, you didn't recognize it as stress. Because I have to say, please go. You're going. If you're not throwing up, if you're not nauseous, you're going. So
Yeah.
that was my way of getting them to talk about their stress, etc. But that's what I'm saying. The stress lives in us. Those emotions live in us. And we also need to recognize how to heal ourselves, acknowledging that those things are part of our physical being as well. So I think I would like us all to think about that. I would think about it definitely.
Mm.
Where does the emotion live? And
Yeah, that's a very good question. Where does the emotion live?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
see it in my yoga classes sometimes. You know, people, if they can release the emotion sometimes, doing the stretching, because maybe the emotion lives there. I don't know. I don't know whether there is a physical space the emotions lives in, but they do.
Okay, so we are talking about then in our next episode of self-care, moving towards healing, right? Is
Right.
that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Working towards healing, working towards our main goal, which is creating an abundance container, expanding it, I think.
So I hope we were able to wrap this up better than the last episode and ask ourselves the question, who is the narrator of our stories? Is it just me or is it outside voices? Am I open, and this I'm posing to ourselves and everybody who's out there listening, am I open to creating a new story in my life?
You recapped
Exactly.
it. Yeah,
Hmm.
you recapped
Very
it
well.
well, Aishu. So we should say goodbye from Unapologetically Desi. And Mala, you have to tell everybody how to subscribe because you do the best.
Please
Yeah.
hit that button and subscribe. And you will get notifications. Turn on the notifications so every time we post a new video, you will get a notification for that, and hopefully you can join us with our
Very
podcast.
good.
From
Bye
Goodbye.
from Unapologetically Desi.
Desi. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.